Okay, happy Monday. Ed Linkle's here at pressure-free.com. When the nerves start on Sunday night, so I remember when I was starting work with a client and they asked me, um, they said, the nerves start on Sunday night. Can you help me with that? Thinking about work the next day. But I've also had people say that, students that I've worked with, college students, high school students, say the same thing. It's like you get to the end of the weekend and in the evening on Sunday, your mind is already working on work and you're possibly already worrying about it. I had a quality control engineer I was coaching who said if he woke up in the middle of the night, he was just mind racing about all the projects he's required to take care of as a quality control engineer. Um, and so I actually suggested to him, and I suggest this to you, like I talk about the tool belt. So like a construction worker's tool belt, you strap that tool belt around your waist and you've got your tools ready for the moment you start to feel nervous, you start to feel anything that's going to take you out of your game. So I suggested that he either wear his tool belt all night, this imaginary tool belt, or hang it on the bedpost so it's right there. So when he wakes up, he can pull out a pressure-free tool and interrupt the release of those hormones so that he can actually get back to sleep. And over time, it worked. And the same thing with someone who has like those feelings of nervousness before the start of the week. The weekend is for most people, though, work schedules are all over the map today, but whenever you have your free days, are you still working on those free days? Not necessarily in front of a computer, but are you working on it in your head? And do you really want to be? So that I think is the qualifying question. If you have time off and you're thinking about work, can you move it into a positive and maybe drop down those double yellow lines? What I mean by that is, okay, I'm going to time block the next half hour because I've got a great idea for work. And you actually do some work, but then you close it out. So the double yellow lines come down, which means you can't pass. You got to stay in your lane. Though we got passed on a double yellow line the other day, so people do it, but that's not a lawful thing to do. So double yellow lines means stay in your lane, and now you've got this set of double yellow lines, and now you have your free time. And I think one of the things that can be helpful is deciding like what you want to do in your free time. Do you want to watch something on television? Do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go play a game? Do you want to meet up with friends? Like what is it that's fun for you? Sometimes my clients, when I ask them like what's fun for them, they have a little bit of trouble. Um, a lot of them don't have hobbies, and that reminds me, one of my clients, she has heritage in Denmark, and she was sharing with me that in Denmark, people have three areas of their life. They have their family life, their home life, they have their work life, and then they have their hobby. And the hobby is very, very important. But I think some of us are just so consumed with work, with family that we don't have many hobbies. My parents had a lot of hobbies and they involved us in their hobbies. My dad was always building something in his shop or working on something. I would calligraphy a piece of wood and then he'd router it out. Like he involved his kids in his projects, um, and his hobbies. But I think that some of that has gone by the wayside a little bit. So what are your hobbies? What's fun for you? And that's when you get to do it, your free time. So let's go back to like feeling nervous the night before that you're going back to work, you're going back to school, and just starting feeling jittery. So the first step is to notice when you're first feeling it. So is it after you have your evening meal? When does it start? If you can identify when it starts, that is so helpful. Because what happens is it's so subconscious. It's such a pattern. You probably have had this pattern for a while if you do it, that it comes in and you're already in it. You're already, you've triggered so quickly, you're already in it. So give yourself some grace and just like be real easy about it, but start to notice when you're worrying about anything into the future. Maybe it's not work, maybe it's that you have to travel or something else is happening and you're creating what I call negative fake worries. You're worrying and creating scenarios and you don't even know if those are going to come to light. But you're really great fiction writers. We all are really great fiction writers in our heads when it comes to catastrophizing and creating these scenarios that we hope won't play out, but we go into it like I'll never get that project done on time, and then I could lose my job, and then just snowballs. The snowball effect is a real deal. So noticing the very first moment. And because we link our work and the paycheck or the ways we're being paid to two things, we link that to our value, like how we are valued in the marketplace and how we value ourselves, how we feel we may be valued in our families. We also link it to safety because if we lose it and we don't have that money coming in, what's going to happen to us? So those two things, even if we have a ton of money stored, we'll still feel unsafe if we feel any sort of issues around that. So value and safety. And because safety is one of the things, the very first tool I would share with someone who says, I get nervous the night before, is to go right to the lower abs. So relax your belly for a moment. And now take your hand and where it tucks back in, see if you can relax that spot, your way lower abs. The way lower abs, I call that your safety, your power, your love, and your money. When I say power, I mean deep empowerment, empowerment from the inside, not force, but really true power inside you, which gives you that connection, which allows you to just be in the flow and be in the zone and reduce those feelings of nervousness instantly. That's because we have a lot of neural activity in our gut. We have a lot of actual neurons, cells that are like neurons. When you relax your belly, you instantly tell your brain there's no reason to go into fight or flight. And if we can tell our mind that, we won't release those floods of hormones that are going to cause us to feel anxious for no reason, that are going to cause us to be so jittery and we can't get to sleep, and your pen clicking if you have a pen in your hand or whatever you do fidget wise. If you need a fidget toy or a stress ball, that's a sign that you've triggered the stress response. So if are totally pressure free, you haven't released those hormones, you won't reach for a pen to click it. You won't be flicking it. You won't be chewing your nails or need something to fidget with. You won't feel fidgety. So that's a clue, actually. So you can back up too in the evening and you can notice, when do I first get a little fidgety? Like what's physically going on? Or do you tense your jaw, your forehead makes that 11 sign, the things you can see? I really don't have much of an 11 sign at 63. It's because at 47, I figured out how to live pressure free. It's totally changed my face, changed every bit of my body. So, so this I think is so important because so many people start to have that little bit of anxiety before school, before work. Sometimes it's every single night, like that quality control engineer. It's like every night they have this pattern of waking up just totally obsessed with their projects. I used to, when I was running the symphony, I used to call myself, this is the Dave corded phones, old phones, right? We had a phone in the bedroom. I would literally call myself if I woke up at 3 a.m. and I would tell myself my idea, like whatever's coming up in my head. And then at the end I would say, have a great day. So one day I'm like listening to, I think I had four of those calls from the time I got home from work until the next morning. And I'm listening to them, and my assistant came in and she goes, is that you talking to yourself and you wish yourself a great day? I go, yes, it is. I am wishing myself a great day. So I like to just kind of open up and not have any really rules about when we work or when because when the ideas come, they come. You may solve a really amazing problem at work while you're in the shower. One of my friends just did a post. She actually showed herself in the shower, like getting great ideas. So it could be, out on a walk. It could be driving. I get a lot of great ideas when I'm driving. So you can leave yourself a voice note. You can, um, there's all kinds you can pull over. I usually don't leave voice notes, but that my next stop, I'll just pull out my work journal and I'll write some things down. And so I think, for a long time we had a very clear definition between work and time off. So your weekends, for my father, for example, his weekends were sacred, his evenings were sacred. He did not work. He worked like a 12-hour day, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., but then he was really home. And so I think there was more of a delineation now, and certainly with remote work, it's gotten a little blurry about what is time off and what isn't. And we're setting our own standards. We always set our own standards because you could be at work and do hardly anything and still be getting a paycheck. It's pretty crazy how non-productive a lot of people are in the workplace. Um, and a lot of the rules have softened. Like when I was working, you could not place a personal phone call without permission from your boss. There's no personal phone calls going on while you're at work, right? There were some really clear boundaries. I think those boundaries have blurred a little bit, which also means that your anxiety can be blurry. Like you can be, there's, excuse me, there's much higher anxiety today than there used to be. But I think that's one of the reasons. And so you could be just working all the time. I have clients who have very high level jobs and they work a lot on the weekend. They work a lot after dinner. People who own their own business are like completely consumed sometimes. So we talk about work-life balance, but actually it's like, how are you doing life? For me, again, relaxing those lower abs and double yellow line. Double yellow line is probably one of the greatest tools to just say, no, I get to close this time block. And now I'm home. And I get to do this with my family or my pets or whatever. And then, okay, now the double yellow line comes down and I get to sleep now. Sleep should be the most natural thing we do, but we have so much around it right now. We always have. I mean, people have always felt anxious during bedtime. So that's really important to watch, like from the time, I would say about 5, 6 hours before your head is going to hit the pillow. Just really work on that bookend, the last bookend of your day, and see if you can notice triggers. For a lot of people, it's the evening news. It's not just work, but they'll hear something on the news or watch something on the news, and that will then ping into something about work. And that will create that whole tension and nervousness around the next day. So you hear me say this, but I believe you deserve a fulfilling life, a beautiful life, and having precious time off that's not interfered with worries. Um, that's I think that's really, really how would I put it? It's I can't think of the words right now, but you deserve it. You really deserve it. You deserve to have some beautiful time to enjoy life and to enjoy whatever it is that's important to you. So W line, relax those lower abs. Um, Ribs up, like lift your ribs up away from your hips. I learned this from my body coach, Leila Veronica. Like create a very long front of your body. Because in fight or flight, we coil up. And when she taught me this whole body system, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. Because when you're elevated, it's like you're up and over your problem and you can see it. My father-in-law was an engineer, and he and I had this great talk one day. I've never forgotten it. He says you need to be at least one or two technologies above the problem that you're solving, one or two levels up, in order to have this holistic view to really solve. But I think about our bodies, because with my violin students, I would just keep them up. It's like our energy drops below a certain line, and and then we're in fight or flight and we're not thinking clearly, can't remember things, not make good decisions, have no willpower. Like it all just kind of goes out the window. So elevating your ribs up, and I have this little slogan, I just call it like wheels up for a plane. I'm like, ribs up. Now I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I can handle the situation. So those are my tips for you today. And if you need more help with this, if this is an issue for you, like you have trouble sleeping or the worries just start the night before you start your work week, I'm so here to help you. You can go to my site and just click book a call. We can have a conversation. So wish you a beautiful pressure-free day.